Welcome to the I Saved You, Now Do the Dishes podcast. I'm author and speaker Carrie Severson. In each episode, I'll share stories and tips from my experience with caregiving and advocacy through my husband's cancer journey. Hi, welcome back to I Saved You, Now Do the Dishes podcast. I'm still up north on my retreat. It feels really good. I go outside for a little walk after every episode I record because if you've been listening, we are in the nitty gritty. We're in the hardest part of my husband's cancer journey and my experience as his caregiver. And even as I say that, we're in the hardest part. As his caregiver, my role actually was hard for a long time. But we're in the part of the story where it really gets bad. So the last episode, I left you with a pretty horrifying chemo experience. He was essentially referred to as snowed, unresponsive, and rather than giving him Narcan or admitting him to the hospital as an overdose patient, we let him sleep it off for an hour, and he came home and basically went through a detox. It was an awful experience. I'm so sorry if you're experiencing it right now. But it took everything I had to get him back to the hospital the next day. He absolutely wanted to quit. He never wanted to step foot in the chemo floor again, and I didn't blame him. Getting him back to the hospital the next day was hard. He was so scared. I was scared. He was clammy, he was cold, he had sweat through every blanket, the comforter, the sheets. He got maybe 2 hours of sleep that night. Not like steady, but the next day we had a really big meeting. Every meeting feels big when you move along this journey, but his pain management had gotten to the point where his radiation team needed to do something for him because popping oxy as often as he did wasn't safe. It wasn't healthy. They probably should have had us talk to a different department long before they actually did. But the day after he was unresponsive to chemo, we had radiation appointment and he had an appointment with palliative care. So palliative care, the term is used a couple of different ways. Sometimes it's used in hospice and other times it's used in long-term pain management. And that's what it was being referred to here. Palliative care. Gavin is pissed. He doesn't believe in the system. He doesn't believe in the healthcare employees. He believes we were sold a bunch of crap in terms of an individualized care plan. And frankly, I'm so fucking tired of feeling like every step I took was the wrong one. Because no matter where I went in this journey, no matter where my husband went, we were faced with pain, blood, it was just exhausting. Death, the possibility of death. He was so thin. He was so fragile. But he really needed somebody to listen. And so that's what I really want to focus on today. As a caregiver, we're in a constant state of fight or flight. And when our nervous system is doing that, we are in autopilot. We are in the driver's seat. We've got a lot of energy that we don't know what to do with. At least that's my response. It was very easy for me to speak for him. At that point in his journey, he had a really hard time speaking. He had tons of mucus at this point, and it was really painful. At this point, we were walking around with a roll of paper towels. We had them everywhere, in the car, in the bathrooms, in the bedrooms, on the kitchen counter, on the couch, in the garage. People were like sending us Costco size paper towels. We had them literally like packed up, stacked up. Where I normally shoot my podcast, it's next to my coffee bar in my house. That's where I had literal Costco style packages of paper towels and toilet paper. Anyway, the next day was the palliative care meeting. We missed his radiation appointment. I actually sent in a message to his team saying he can't do it. He's so pissed after what happened with chemo yesterday. And I had to inform his chemo team about what happened. I had informed his radiation team about what happened. We were really upset that nobody at this point had even said, hey, Oxy and Benadryl don't work well together. I felt like there was some neglect happening there. And so I blasted both teams and didn't really bother with rescheduling his appointment. And normally I was Johnny on the spot. If he was running late, if we were going to miss something, I was emailing and calling and rescheduling, and I would make sure that he would hit that appointment before we left that day. I didn't care this time. I figured, they weren't going to let him get away with it. It would get stacked on somewhere. But that day, he refused to go to radiation. He wanted to quit altogether. And I made him a deal. I was like, this palliative care person is the person that could help us with your pain management. Maybe we can get a different drug at this point. Maybe you can get, the next step. We have to meet with her. She was really nice. She was from Chicago. He was really frustrated. He was scared. He was angry. And he needed to vent. And so as a caregiver, my advice to you is when you get to a point in your journey when your loved one breaks, give them the space to vent. He or she has tried for so long to put up with it, to funnel, to find a way through it, to push through it, and they need to vent. And if you're sitting in front of a healthcare professional, let him do it. So he did. I sat back and I let him express everything that he felt was wrong with the healthcare system, that he felt was overlooked from his perspective as a patient. He felt like he was just nothing but a number or a paycheck to these people. He felt let down. And he was scared. She was really kind. She was attentive, let him talk, recorded everything in terms of like made notes and made sure that she was sending notes to the appropriate teams about any disruptions that she felt like needed to be mentioned. And then she was like, okay, here's how I can help you. We're going to put you on a long-term oxy. And then you'll have a short-term oxy. And I was like, what the hell? More oxy? Are you kidding me? We didn't have control over any of this. I don't know drugs, I think taking 600 milligrams of ibuprofen is sometimes, you know, on the wrong foot, whatever. But no, we were essentially there for her to become his like professional. They even joked about it. She was like, from here on out, I am your professional drug dealer. You will only get Oxy through me. We have a long conversation about this. He's put on long-term Oxy and short-term Oxy. The long-term Oxy is going to kick in really quickly and reduce his pain from like an 8 to a 4. And the short-term Oxy will be there to support even if it pops up to like a 5 or a 6. So long-term Oxy is every 12 hours. Short-term is back to 4. More for the whiteboard. Great. They sign an agreement. It's like a legal thing. It's nuts. She's like, I'm going to do everything I can to keep your pain tolerable so that you come out of a 10, 9, or an 8 in terms of pain, and we keep you at a 4 or 5. That's the goal on an ongoing basis. And she's like, if you feel your pain creep, we can change your prescription. We can increase your prescription. But here's the thing. These are monitored, regulated. These types of prescriptions don't move fast. So we need to know at least a week in advance before you run out. I'm like, I'm listening to all this happen. And now I've got to do math on my husband's drugs and calculate ahead of time how much he's going to need the week before he needs it. Oh my God. Whatever. It's what he needed. So great. These types of drugs have to go through a bunch of different red tape. So as much as we just wanted to walk over to the hospital pharmacy and get it, that couldn't happen. And so we had to wait for hours before he could start this long-term Oxy. And they didn't fulfill it at a pharmacy anywhere close to our house. It was on the opposite side of town, 45 minutes away. So I get a text message. Your prescription is ready. And I click on the link. It's at a Walgreens. My husband may have fulfilled something at 10 years before I even met him. It's in the middle of Scottsdale. He doesn't want to go to radiation. That's fine. Whatever. I wasn't going to leave the hospital until I knew where these drugs were, because I was still hoping that they were going to be at the pharmacy downstairs. But so we get in the car. We're working away from traffic. We get his drugs, get stuck in traffic on the way home. It is the longest day, and I'm just exhausted. I'm ready for this whole thing to be over with. Gratefully, my family had sort of, particularly after the unresponsive chemo day the day before, my family had really stepped in, and my sister had come over, did a load of laundry, did the dishes, and they left bath bombs. They left some really fun bath products and things to help relax, a lot of lavender. And that little gift was what helped me sort of feel centered, feel supported. I loved it. We got home. Gavin took his first dose, fell asleep on the couch, and I took a shower with lavender. The aromatherapy, this is a massive tip for nervous system. Aromatherapy definitely helps. Put it on behind your ears, on your chest, on your wrists. Take deep breaths in. Allow that sort of scent to penetrate your body. Take deep breaths out. Do that several times. it really supports you. It was a very stressful couple of days. Not going to radiation definitely helped. It was really interesting. When you're carrying that much adrenaline, it has to come out of your body somehow, some way. After I relaxed with some lavender, Gavin took a nap. He went outside and he was playing with the flowers, and he loves that stuff. He's got a green thumb. I sat down on the couch to meditate, and I could feel my body break. I started shaking and crying, and it's great releases for nervous system. And when you feel that happen, let it happen. It really felt like the things and the stress and the chaos stored in my cells were being released. The adrenaline was finally unlocked in my system because I couldn't carry it anymore. We weren't anywhere close to being done. But I was grateful for the release. Gavin came in from outside, saw that I was crying, didn't try to fix it or help it because you can't. He curled up on one side of the couch. I curled up on the other. We both fell asleep there. Neither one of us said anything. His pain came down a little bit that night. He was able to take long drinks of water, which was really great to see. Isn't that crazy? Celebrating drinking water. God. It was such a nightmare. He was able to drink a high protein shake that night. I remember that. And then right before I was ready to go to bed, it was like 9:00. He's like, honey, he's able to talk a little bit better now because he's got this long-term oxy in him. Can you make me a grilled cheese sandwich? Of course. So he turned on Tournament of Champions again. I made the ooeyest, gooeyest, slimiest grilled cheese ever. He didn't eat the crust. He just ate the middle. But he ate. The next day he was able to get a little bit of an egg down, no salt, no pepper. He ate a soft-boiled egg and a protein shake. I was really proud. It wasn't... that would have been Thursday morning of the 5th week. And even with all the drugs, he was still in pain. Lean on your families. Don't try to hold in any emotion. Accept the fact that you and your loved one are going to see parts of each other that you've probably never seen before. You're going to meet a version of you that you've never met before. It's par for the course, and you're not alone. As always, I love you. Thank you for being here. If you're a caregiver, remember it's okay to have someone else do the dishes, and I'll see you next time.